Welcome back, guys. We are going to be talking about The Exorcist Believer. So, I know probably there's been some that have seen this film, and I know I'm late to I guess you'd say, the review, but that's fine because it took me a minute to even get a hold of time and even want to watch this movie. I was kind of back and forth if I should or I should not watch this movie. But either way, I was actually shocked of how much not only I enjoyed this film, but how they expanded the lore in The Extras. Now, I really don't remember too much of the original one, but the entire basis of this film, again, a lot of it's through the trailer, is you have this main character. You have Victor, who is played by Leslie Odom Jr. Now, he is a single father to his daughter Angela. He and his wife were on a trip in Haiti, and then there was a massive earthquake, and he had no choice but to choose between his soon-to-be unborn child and his wife trying to live, and he could only choose one or the other. So he did the ultimate decision, and as a man, that's a very hard decision to make between your child is about ready to be born or you're going to choose your wife, and that's a very hard decision to make. And it goes 13 years later, and he takes his daughter to school, and he sees his daughter's friend by the name of Catherine. Some reason or other, they go to the woods and try to do a seance because she wants to be able to talk to her mother. Angela does. And then as soon as that happens, something occurs, and then they go missing for 3 days. Now, it doesn't really say what happened to them other than they were missing for 3 days. So Victor tries to get in contact with Catherine's parents, and they go on the hunt to try to find these two girls. Now, during this time frame, it's weird because as soon as they do find them, they find them on a farm, and it doesn't take long to show that they're showing signs of possession. Now, what happens is it's not just one possessed, but there's actually two possessed. And when this happens, Victor starts seeing different things in his daughter. He's trying to figure out what's going on. Same thing with Catherine's parents, and they actually the mother leads to demonic possession before anyone does, which was kind of interesting. And they were very big churchgoers, so it's kind of shocking to see even a churchgoer bring that up. Now, I will say they do go to one of the priests for our church to try to get a confirmation on the exorcism. And again, I've noticed this in a lot of movies, and it's very typical that you'll try to find someone to try to do the exorcism, whether it be a priest or someone that is either a former priest and either they can't do it because they got to get permission from the church and all this stuff. And again, it gets very repetitive because 9 times out of 10 they're going to deny it. Oh, they need psychological help or any of that kind of stuff. And it's one of those where I'm sitting there as the viewer, I would go, okay, then go check out these girls or this child, and there you go, you're going to see what I'm seeing. And that would be me. But Victor, he has a hard time believing anything religious due to what happened to his wife, as well as also what's going on with his daughter. And he has no choice but to put her in a psychiatric hospital to get help. And then finally, between his neighbor and then among others, and his neighbor brings up about what happened. There's only one thing that she knew about someone that this happened to. So we go back to the one Reagan, who was played by Linda Blair, and how her mother wrote a book about her possession and what occurred. Now, she saw the possession, but again, she wasn't there. I don't remember much of the first movie. I may have to go back so I can watch it. That way I can actually remember some things. Now, he goes to her for help. He goes to Chris, who's played by Ellen Burstyn. Now, again, she has wrote a book. She knows a lot about possession because ever since what happened to her daughter, she's just become very, just dove deep into everything, trying to learn every culture, every language to figure out why this happened to her daughter, how does this happen to other people, and why does it happen. And what happens is Victor goes to her for help, and then when she comes, she sees what has happened, and she believes it is the same demonic entity that possessed her daughter, because he even brings up about how Reagan, oh, she's dead, and how she's this, and I can find her. And then she even goes to the other girl, Catherine, and when she's possessed, she actually stabs her eyes out. So now, unfortunately, she's blind, and she can no longer help Victor. So Victor becomes very desperate, and he enlists not only the help of his neighbor who was going to be a former nun, and she believed that his daughter was possessed because they brought up a her being pregnant, and no one knew other than her that she was pregnant, and then she lost the child. Now that was insane. And then she gets the help of, I'm assuming, her husband, as well as also the priest, and then Catherine's parents and him, and even another woman who is a friend. And they combine all these religions between Christianity, I would say, and among others, to do a exorcism slash seance to exorcise this demon. And they go to extreme lengths to get their daughters back, and it's really intense. And I was thinking, okay, they're probably going to do the same thing we've seen like The Conjuring or in other movies, and they actually did not do that. It was a lot more intense, and unfortunately, long story short, only one of the girls does survive. And it goes into how Regan does return, played by Linda Blair, and she goes to see her mom after however many years, which was a very warming reunion. But the one thing I did not care for in this movie was there was no explanation on how these girls got possessed and where they got possessed. And they were gone for 3 days, and then they went into, obviously, in the book of Revelations and the Bible, and went into a bunch of different things about how it was just one of those things of like, okay, what really happened? That was not explained. So that was kind of a downfall for me for the film. It was a lot of thrilling. It was a lot of dramified, like you would normally see for a paranormal movie. It was actually, some of it was predictable, I will say that, but also at the same time, when it gets to certain points in the movie, it is going to be predictable. But when we get to, I would say, close to the end of the film, and they're going through the exorcism, you really don't know who's going to survive. And when it comes to moments like that, it's like a 50-50 shot. You really don't know if this girl's going to survive or that girl's going to survive, or both of them are not going to, or they're both going to survive. And I was kind of impressed with the way they did that. It made you really wonder, are these girls going to survive? And I will give credit to where credit's due for some of the acting, that it really made you feel for both these families to, watch your child go through this. And there's really nothing you can do other than, go through it from a spiritual standpoint and fight, this entity that decided to invade a child. And now you're having to fight this entity through another means rather than the physical. And it was really crazy. And when you see movies like this, and it actually it is very powerful, not only in the acting but the writing, it actually makes it to be a good movie. And will I say this is a good movie? Yeah, I will say it was defiably a good movie. And did it hold up to possibly the very first Exorcist? That's debatable. I will say that I haven't seen the first one in a long time. I'm probably going to have to go back and rewatch it. But I did enjoy this movie. It was not that bad like I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be the same thing from any type of paranormal movie, but it was actually a lot better than what I originally predicted and what I originally thought before I gave it a chance. But guys, what do you think of The Exorcist Believer? Was it a good movie? Was it a bad movie? Was it something you would rewatch again? Is it something you would tell people to watch? Is it something you would say, hey, don't watch it, it's not worth your time? What are your thoughts about it? Let me know down in the comments down below if you guys are new to the channel. Also about subscribing. Leave a big like on the video if you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you as always on the next one.